With pre-season underway and the new Premier League season on the horizon, there's players who were underwhelming last season but have been given another chance to prove their worth this season. For most of these players, this could be the last chance for them to turn it around, and so in this video, we'll take a look at 7 players who must step up their game this season. Number 1. Darwin Nunez. When Liverpool signed Nunez last summer, comparisons were being drawn with Erling Haaland. He scored a grand total of 34 goals in all competitions the season before for Benfica, which was really the first time he was clinical in front of goal in his career. Nonetheless, Liverpool splashed out £85 million on the Uruguayan, and he was meant to rival City's new star signing Erling Haaland. In his first competitive game in the Community Shield, he faced the Norwegian and actually had the better game, winning a penalty and scoring in stoppage time. But that would not set the tone for the rest of the season, as Nunez only managed 9 league goals and was miles off Haaland's 36. Liverpool ended up missing out on Champions League football for the first time in years, and Nunez received mixed reviews, with Sport Outlet Goal saying that he had shown promise but had flaws to iron out. This season, Nunez has to step up as he's been given the iconic number 9 shirt following the departure of Firmino, and won't have the excuse of this being his first season. In the Jurgen Klopp system, the attackers need to deliver goals, and with Liverpool having a new and improved midfield behind him, Nunez must deliver or risk falling behind the pecking order. Number 2. Jadon Sancho. Whilst at Dortmund, it could be argued that Sancho was the 3rd best under-21 player behind only Haaland and Mbappe. But since his move to Manchester United, he's fallen off a cliff and is nowhere near one of the best players in his position. He came with huge hype but has thus far failed to live up to it, barely playing under Ole in his first season and then dealing with off-the-pitch issues in his second. He has shown some promise at times, such as against Liverpool last season when he put Milner on his backside to equalise in a game that they eventually won. But the promise has been few and far between, and now several fans have already turned on Sancho. With the emergence of Garnacho and the return of Amad Diallo, he may quickly end up becoming the 5th choice winger at the club if he doesn't fix up. Considering he costs £75 million and is on a reported £300,000 a week, Sancho either delivers this season or he's out next summer. Number 3. Emil Rowe. Arteta's Arsenal is built upon youth, with stars such as Saka, Martinelli and Saliba key members of the squad and all under the age of 23. But a youth star who has been a bit of a forgotten man at Arsenal is the Croydon De Bruyne, also known as Emil Rowe. He broke through 2 seasons ago, scoring 10 goals in the league, and there was a genuine discussion on who's the better talent, him or Saka. Fast forward to today, Saka is arguably Arsenal's best player, scoring 15 goals in the league last season and is an England nailed-on starter, while Rowe was injured nearly all season, making a few appearances off the bench and still playing for the England under-21s. But he is fit now and won the England under-21 Euros earlier this month and is desperate to force his way back into Arteta's plans. And Arteta is keen to give him another chance, but competition for places is at an all-time high with the signing of Trossard and now Havertz. So Rowe must stay fit and perform when given his chance or he'll be out the door. Number 4. Richarlison. When Spurs splashed out £60 million for Richarlison last summer, they thought they got a Premier League proven forward that can play across the front 3 and hit double-digit goals in the league, as well as be a backup for Harry Kane. However, they've been left very disappointed with the return on their investment, as Richarlison only scored 1 league goal the whole of last season. In fact, he's been booked more times for taking off his shirt for a disallowed goal than he's managed league goals. And under the new manager Postecoglou, Richarlison must now prove his worth and start firing the goals in, or else he risks being moved on. There is a relatively high possibility that Kane leaves the club this summer, and with Daniel Levy being a cheapskate, there's no doubt he'll expect Richarlison to lead the line for Spurs this season instead of signing a replacement, so this will be a massive season for the Brazilian. Number 5. Mykhailo Modric. Modric is also someone who must step up big time this season. He came to the club under difficult circumstances halfway through last season and wasn't able to make an impact, but he's now had 6 months to acclimatise and will be working under one of the best coaches in world football for younger players in Pochettino. Chelsea have no European football to worry about next season, so Modric can really focus on establishing himself in the league. It is perhaps unfair to put pressure on a 22-year-old who only arrived from Ukraine 7 months ago, but he did cost £88 million, and unfortunately at that price you have to start delivering almost instantly, especially at a club like Chelsea, who are looking for someone to step up and become the team's star player. Pochettino is also determined to bring the best out of Modric, so if he can't help him, no one can. Number 6. Basuma. Before Caicedo, Basuma was the Brighton midfielder the whole league was after, and Tottenham managed to get him for just £30 million last summer, which looked like the bargain of the century, especially when you consider Caicedo will go for almost triple that to Chelsea. But his first season at the club was underwhelming as he spent a large portion of it injured with an ankle fracture. And even when he was fit, he was nowhere near the player he was at Brighton. And now under a new manager, he needs to step up and show why he was one of the most wanted midfielders in Europe just 12 months ago. The high-intensity football that Postecoglou plays is more suited to Basuma, and with the addition of Maddison, there's less attacking responsibility on Basuma, and a more balanced midfield, which should bring the best out of the 26-year-old. Barring injury, there's no excuses for Basuma not to replicate his Brighton form at Tottenham. Number 7. Antony. Much like Sancho mentioned earlier on in this video, Antony also has a massive season ahead of him to try and prove his worth at the club. Now, unlike most people, I don't think Antony had a terrible first season, as he did manage 8 goals and 3 assists in all competitions, which included some crucial goals against the likes of Barcelona and Arsenal. But if Modric needs to step up due to his price tag, then Antony does too, as he did cost £85 million, came with huge hype, and was signed by Ten Hag, who he's worked with at Ajax before. He's had some off-the-pitch issues, but he must not let that distract his on-field performances this season. Improving his finishing significantly and becoming less predictable will be key for Antony to succeed at Manchester United. Out of both Sancho and Antony, who do you think will be more successful next season at Manchester United? Let us know below. And that was it for the 7 players who must step up their game this season. Comment down below any other players who you think belong on this list. And as always, please like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one.